All right. So sorry about that, you guys. Just having a lot of technical issues, camera, and there was just some other things. I do apologize. So we're here now, and we're going to give people a little bit of time to come on. So we're going to have to get right into it this evening. So thank you so much for your patience. Really appreciate it. And let's go ahead and get some music on here. And let's go ahead and let's see what song we're going to get on here. Let's go ahead and start with the 4C song. Let's go ahead and play that one. All right. So thanks again for your patience. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. This one's for every queen who thought a crown was too heavy to wear. But baby, that crown was built for light.
You twist, you turn, you tuck, you side. Mirror talking, why can't it just lie? But I see galaxies in every curl. A sacred pattern, baby, that built the world. They said too coarse, I said too divine. High quality always takes time. Girl, your roots run deep as history.
Welcome again to another broadcast, live broadcast. So glad that you guys can join us again. I apologize for the tardiness, technical issues, y'all. Anyway, just comes with it. But we're gonna join it. We're gonna jump in tonight.
I don't care what the others think. We just wanna see you happy. I'm happy, cause that's how I know it's true. Learn to love your crown, baby, I'll show you how. That's for see the sun hits right on them coils so tight. Each strand's a story, bold and light. You say it's hard for fingers to slide through, baby, that's two of us, me and you. Let's leave China and India out this talk. We walk in roots that angels walk. No synthetic love could ever compete with the rhythm that your curls beat. You say it's hard to manage, but art always takes some damage. Still you shine through all that pain. Girl, that's power in your mane. Let your crown glow. Let it show, let it show. Crowns aren't meant to be covered, no. I don't care what the others think. We just wanna see you happy. I'm happy cause that's how I know it's true. Learn to love your crown, baby, I'll show you how. That's for see. That's legacy in motion. That's melanin devotion. Don't straighten what was made to rise. You were born from the sunrise. So let it twist, let it bloom. There's a whole universe in your room. You don't need their approval. I see you clearly, foresee. I see you, baby, I foresee you. Baby, I foresee you.
All right. Thank you so much again for joining us for this broadcast here. Again, we were supposed to start a little bit earlier, and I mean, it just trying to get things, turn it, you flip the switches on stuff and switches ain't switching, and you adjust this and that ain't adjusting, so it's just whatever. But that wasn't really how my weekend went. In fact, that's not really how the week went. The week for me actually went pretty well. How about you? How was your day? How was your weekend? Hope you guys had a great one. It was actually a beautiful, beautiful weekend here in the sunny state of Arizona. Wonderful day. Wonderful day. I start my day like I've been, is doing my breathing exercises outside. I hope you guys are doing that. Are you Are you doing the breathing exercises? Are you doing that? I told you there's plenty of videos here on YouTube that teaches you just some basic breathing exercises. You could do this thing called box breathing, where you inhale, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, inhale for 4 seconds, and then you just keep doing it for about a minute or two or whatever. Man, what it does for your brain, it just resets so much, and it brings a sense of calm and peace in your life, man. I'm telling you, when you do it on a regular basis. So I would really encourage you that you stop standing on the sidelines and start making this a part of your daily routine, because I'm telling you right now, peace, we're going to really need it, especially during these days and times right now. So anyway, good to have you guys here again. As always, thank you so much for joining us. The music you're hearing again, I get emails from people and messages all the time, people asking about our music. Well, you can get that over on Sambatree. Go to sambatree.com, and we have a whole collection, a growing collection of wonderful music that you can play around the house, and it's not expensive at all, y'all. Listen, nobody's trying to make the top 100 or to get a platinum or gold or anything like that. What our goal is seeing you in a place of peace and just being at ease. That's what we're about, and we're going to fully do everything we can to help facilitate that over at Sambatree.com, which, by the way, as I'm talking about Sambatree, we do have a promo that's still going on. It's going to be wrapping up soon, up to 30% off of many products there on the website. And I know we had quite a few emails go out this week to our customers. It was because every day we were highlighting a special product, and so we did that just last week because it was Cyber Week and all of that, right? But today we did get another email to go out today. Going through the warehouse, we found quite a bit of wonderful things that many people have been asking for, and we thought it was all gone, but apparently it isn't. we got plenty of it. And we're running a huge sale, a promo just on this right here. Fresh Bamboo Sea Moss Body Oil. Many of you have been asking about that. 50% off. 50% off, right? And then it's all 100% natural, ingredients like you'll find on many of our on our products, because that's what we're about, 100% natural. 40% off our Purifying Facial Cleanser, made with Moss Faves. That's a collection that we've had for a minute here on this platform, and got to find out we had quite a bit, still there. So, 40% off of that. So that's above and beyond, with the general, promo that we have going on right now. And we're also still, I just see this, we also still have the 25% off bitters and black seed oil. That's still on top of 30% promo that's running as well. So we got all kind of things going on over at Sambatree.com. Make sure you check out the website. Again, it's Sambatree.com. Thanks again. Appreciate you. And yes, they want me to tell you again that yes, they are, I want to say feverishly, but yes, orders are going out. We've had a huge influx of orders, and we're very much appreciative of that. But rest assured, y'all, you're always going to get your orders. Ain't nobody running from anything. Nobody's taking your money or anything like that. You'll never have anything to worry about that. Not that anybody's been saying anything, but, I just always want to make sure people know that, yeah, we got some good folks on this end here that's going to make sure that everything is going out. So just wanted to make sure you understood that. So, again, we really appreciate each and every one of you. And let's go ahead and get into what we're going to be talking about today, okay? Anyway, so like I said, I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. It's quite a beautiful one here. And and so I'm just ready for another week, and ready to dive in and move forward into things that, I have been put on this earth to do, as well as you. We all have an assignment. We all have something that we're supposed to be doing, and it's our job and our responsibility to make sure we're living in a place of peace so that we can begin to hear and listen what exactly is it I'm supposed to be doing? And your preacher ain't going to tell you. Well, they're going to tell you, but they're going to tell you what benefits them. No, you've been put here for a reason. All of us have a specific function. When you look at nature, everything, every plant, every animal, everything, every fish, every insect, it all has a specific reason why it's here. You are no different. See, you got people who will try to be the middleman between you and nature and try to say, okay, well, you're supposed to be here for this and you're supposed to be doing that. You ain't got to pay. No, no. Because an orange seed, when's the last time you saw an orange seed going to a convention, an orange seed convention, and they're trying to discover who they are? They know who they are. You know what I'm saying? Or when you got a baby giraffe or other things that are just, come in seed form like you did. Ain't nobody got to go to a convention or get a whole stack of books to figure out who they are. You ain't got to do that because you instinctively know what it is you're supposed to be doing. We just have to work at clearing the noise out so we can figure these things out. You know what I mean? And as you do that, you're going to see how easy it is. All right. So today in this broadcast, we're going to get into how these masks are coming off. And yes, they are definitely coming off. And what am I talking about? What mask am I talking about? I'm talking about these controllers. And when I say the controllers, I'm talking about people who have ulterior motives. They tell you one thing, they look up, they appear in all different shapes, sizes. Some of them come in different religions and they have different colors and all of that. But at the end of the day, they all have an ulterior motive. And many of them all work in concert with one another. So we're going to get into specifics in that in a moment. Okay, we're going to dive right in. I already got it all written out here in my notebook here. We're going to be getting into that. But for some reason, well, I know why, but I'd always, these series of videos, if you haven't been watching the last few videos, at least if you're new to the platform, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Really appreciate you guys. And for those of you in the chat, big shout out to each and every one of you. Those who support this channel, I really thank you and really appreciate that. We're going to have some more content coming out for you this week. Things have been kind of like this, the last couple of weeks because we've just moved and we're still kind of shuffling things around and all of that. So that's the reason. So my apologies, but we're going to get some more special content for just for you guys. Okay. So just continue to hold on there. But I want to continue to open up my videos with this quote from Maimonides because I want to make sure people get this. Okay. And I have to keep reading it over and over again. Okay. Who was Maimonides? He was considered he's probably the most revered rabbi in Judaism. And this was a statement that he wrote in the Talmud regarding not just black people, but Negroes. Okay. So I want to make sure that this stays in you. So because this is the foundation for much of what we are addressing here on this platform. So I'm going to bring this back up here, and then we're going to dive into our main stuff here in just a moment here. Let me get that up here on the screen. There you go. And let me go ahead and read this for you. All right. So again, this is what he wrote regarding Negroes. All right. So let me read this real quick. I'm clearing my screen now. Okay, here we go. Guide of the Perplexed, Book 3, Chapter 51. Among those who have no religion, there is a group of people whose entire inner thought is given to the immediate satisfaction of their material wants and appetites, and they do not long for anything else. To them, men become like the dumb animals, or even lower, since the animals, or at least do not eat to the point of bursting, and they do not mate with every woman they see. I have already mentioned in the first part of this treatise that the inhabitants of the South have lustful and bestial natures. They have bodies which are hotter than the bodies of other people because they are closer to the sun, whose rays reach them when it is near the zenith. This is the opinion of the physicians. And the inhabitants of the north are the people with weak and cold natures, whose bodies are cold and their humors thick. The inhabitants of the south are the Negroes. The inhabitants of the south are the Negroes. This is who he's really talking about. And they have lustful and bestial natures, and their bodies are hotter than the bodies of other people. To my mind, they do not have the rank of men, but have among the beings a rank lower than the rank of a man, but higher than the rank of the apes. For they have the external shape and lineaments of a man, and a faculty of discernment that is superior to that of the apes. And yes, you can find this quote. It's in the Talmud, but it's from the website, thetorah.com. So for those of you who just really love to embrace and love and make love to the Torah and all of that, I would encourage you to go to thetorah.com and read that out loud. Okay. And there you go. But that's straight from the Talmud. And this is what these people who refer to themselves as the chosen ones, this is their rabbi, who's considered probably the most revered out of all rabbis within religious Judaism. I do encourage you, again, go back to the few web videos that we have done so far in the past, and read those. I mean, watch those videos. Watch those videos. I really would encourage you to do it, because we actually go much deeper than that. Okay, but due to time, I'm not going to go and just repeat myself on that, but I do want to make sure that you get that. Again, his name is Maimonides. Okay, and this is how he sees black folks. And so I don't know if you guys, I'm in part 2. Well, actually, I'm moving to part 3 now. The Diddy documentation. Wow, the Diddy documentary by 50 Cent. Have you guys watched that? Have you guys been seeing that? It's on Netflix. The Diddy documentary. My goodness. I mean, you talk about being a manifestation of what I just wrote or read here. It's just really something. Like I said, I'm at part 2. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I'll probably finish it out tonight, but yeah, it's really something. I mean, how this man basically was the manifestation of this, and not just him, because see, he couldn't pull all that off himself. You know, he had other people that was empowering him to do that. And that's one of the things that I saw, how you had people who knew this man was doing some crazy stuff, but because they wanted to get their shine as well, they were willing to kind of go along with stuff. They were willing to look the other way. And it was just something else. It's something else. And I was on Twitter or X the other day. And yeah, you got black folks that are on here that are defending him. In fact, they're trying to frame it as, you know, he was framed, that Sean Combs was actually framed, and, you know, because he made a covenant with some devils or something like that, this is why he's in the position that he's in and all this other stuff. No, he was the devil. How about that? That dude was the devil. Okay. You can't blame anybody else but that. But where does this mindset come from? Again, it goes all the way back. It goes all the way back to what we talked about earlier. Listen, again, as a people, as black folks, people from the continent, that is not us. We didn't come from apes. We weren't humping everything that moved. We weren't anything like that at all. We were very brilliant people, and we still are. We were building things. I mean, we were doing all types of things. Don't buy into the lie that we just lived in mud huts and that was it, and just ate bugs and grubs and bush meat and all this other stuff. No, we were doing a lot. Much of the science that we have today, matter of fact, the foundation of that came from the continent, and not just Egypt. It came from Central Africa. It came from South Africa. We've done videos on this, and we've talked about that in detail, so much so I did a whole podcast series on that where we talked about that. So don't buy into the lie when it comes in to that stuff. But what happened was, over time, unfortunately, our people bought into this lie, and what has manifested out of that are the people like Sean Combs and other people who are bought into this stuff. And then when you go on social media today, you still see people manifesting this ape prophecy by these folks. And so we are here to break that, to expose it, and to destroy it. And the people who put it together, they can go straight to hell too. But anyway, so tonight what we're going to do is I'm going to look at a few things here. So we're looking at the masks are coming off. Have you guys been, I don't know about you, have you guys been following this whole Candace Owens thing? This whole Candace Owens situation regarding Candace Owens and Turning Point USA. It has been quite fascinating. It's been quite interesting to see what has been going on. Now, again, I don't personally care, what people may say. Personally, they may not like about Candace Owens. This is not about liking Candace Owens. Okay, so let me be clear before you jump into the comments and talk about how much you can't stand her and all this other stuff. Let's put that to the side. This is not about liking anybody. Okay, just like y'all, I would like if you guys like me, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So this is not about liking anybody. This is about the exposure of things that are not right. Okay. I'm not going to go through the whole situation regarding Charlie Kirk and all of that stuff. But what we will say is this: anybody that has a pulse, okay, and you have a working brain, seeing what took place with this whole Charlie Kirk situation, and knowing the history in this country, anytime there's an assassination that takes place, we always know that that somewhere in there is some coordinated effort with some government, be it our own government or a government from another country. We know this, okay? And this is something that happens regularly, okay? It happens quite regularly, and we have tons of proof on this. Okay, so we got all kind of precedents of this happening on a regular. So yes, so people naturally are going to have a lot of questions, and so someone and Candace Owens is in fact one of those people who's been raising a lot of, I think, very important questions. Everything from what the FBI is saying, the type of bullet that was used, how this guy just seemingly came out of nowhere, some kid, just so happened to be able to sneak up on a major campus and climb up on the roof. Nobody noticed that this kid climbs up on the roof. The gun that he used came from his grandfather's. It was like his grandfather's old gun. And he climbs up on the roof and he manages to pull off the perfect shot. I mean, the perfect shot. And manages to escape the college campus. All of that. And then how people reacted when it happened. There's one particular guy, the moment Charlie Kirk got shot, he immediately was like, it was just like a pivot. He just got on his phone and started, you see him talking. There's no like, oh my God, there's no human shock. If I witness somebody getting shot in front of me, I'm not going to be just standing like 25 feet away on my phone and just walking around talking to somebody. I'm not going to do that. I don't think any of you would do that. So there's like all kinds of things that were going on that Candace Owens is actually kind of going through and asking all of these questions. Well, apparently, there are numbers of people who don't like that. They don't like that these questions are being asked, because a lot of information that's starting to come out is it's like that nation that has the blue flag and the star on it, they seem like they just keep coming up. And when this happened, Netanyahu immediately, his first reaction was literally getting on American television and saying that Israel had nothing to do with it. So just imagine if a murder or some kind of crime took place in your neighborhood and immediately somebody gets on television and says, we had nothing to do with it. Nothing says guilt like that. You know what I mean? And so, but it's kind of a lot of things are pointing in that direction, but not them exclusively. She's pulling out some things with the French are involved, and it's all kind of things. You know what I mean? And so people don't like that. They don't like that. And, people saying, oh, she's crazy and this and that or whatever. But what's interesting is that a lot of this is coming from the right. This is coming from conservatives. And what's interesting is that this is coming from the same group of people who were questioning the vaccine narrative, who was questioning the narrative with Trump being shot, who questions JFK narrative, that questions 9/11. But you notice that when it's talking, anytime Israel is anywhere in the vicinity, all of a sudden it's like a full stop. And all of a sudden, no, we can't ask any questions. We can't go there. We can't do that and all of that. And so that's what's happening. And then the other reason why Israel is it keeps coming up in this is because Charlie Kirk was being pressured, and she's showing the text messages. He was being pressured hard by Israel, by Zionists, to basically to pivot Turning Point to a Zionist organization. And tonight I'm going to actually show you that, well, mission accomplished, because that's exactly what they're doing. And so he was voicing privately to Candace Owens, and even I think he was on Megyn Kelly. Even he was making it very clear that, hey, listen, I'm not trying to go that way anymore, because I'm seeing stuff. I don't like how I'm being bullied, and I'm seeing stuff that this nation state is doing that I don't like. I don't like what they're doing. So he was starting to see some things that he didn't like. And the day that this took place, that he got assassinated, all of a sudden, all these preachers run out and start talking about, the first thing they say out of his mouth is, one thing about, it's like, we're so sad that he's gone. But remember, he always supported Israel. It was like they just pivoted right to that. It's like if something were to happen to me, and then my wife gets on here and she's like, I'm sad that he's gone. But remember, you guys, Dwayne always supported Israel. I was like, okay, that's weird. That's a weird thing to say. But I'm sitting back and watching this and saying, okay, I'm definitely seeing this thing here. None of this stuff is adding up. I got some questions too. So I'm sitting back and watching this. And so this week, things were really starting to amp up. And what I noticed is that there was a lot of large content creators. I mean, a lot of them that were just on full attack mode, just going after Candace, and just really because basically, long story short, they had set up, meaning Turning Point, had said, listen, we're going to address all the rumors, all the things that Candace has been saying, and we're going to confront that this woman is lying. Now, if Candace wants to come to our studios here in Phoenix, she's more than welcome to do that. But we're going to confront the lies. And here's the thing. They tweeted that invitation, quote unquote, at midnight. Nobody's going to see that, but they did it. But when I saw it on my timeline, I said, I see what they're doing. Because see, they put this on midnight so that by the time people wake up, it's already out on people's feeds, and it's going to give the impression that, oh yeah, she ain't trying to come, that kind of thing, right? So I already knew, but she had already said, hey, I'll show up wherever, you just got to let me know. And so anyway, long story short, I'm just catching some of y'all up who haven't been watching this. So anyway, long story short, so she said, hey, listen, like I said, I'm still standing by that. I will still, show up virtually. I could still do that. But if you are requiring me to show up in person, well, that's going to take some scheduling. You guys didn't even give me an opportunity to do that. And then after that, they came back and said, see, you don't even want to come in the first place. So we're going to continue to go without you. So it was a very bad faith offer. And they were doing this intentionally just to try to get some upper hand. Because if you look at the amount of talk that's going on social media about Turning Point, it's not good. Their financials are being exposed. There's a town literally about minutes away from where I live right now, where in their tax paperwork, it's showing that they own a business or they own some land or something to the effect. They have a facility and it's a parking lot, but there's nothing there, you know, and there's other things coming out now where there's some shady stuff going on with money and all kinds of stuff. And we're going to get into some stuff here. Now, again, if you're new to the channel, listen, I'm not just talking about this because in a minute, a little bit later, we're going to talk about, well, how does black people involve in this? How do we get hooked up in this? We're going to talk about that because there's some things Turning Point is doing to try to get black folks involved in this. And I got some stuff right in front of me. We're going to touch on that in a little bit. So stay tuned for that. And so basically it's that little petty stuff, but it was very amazing to sit back and to watch all of these people literally begin to reveal themselves and start saying, really attacking her over some petty stuff. I mean, it was very petty. It was very, very petty. Oh, she doesn't want to show up. She doesn't want to show up. She's scared. And I was watching how some of these content creators, these large ones, were saying, I just want to see her show up in person and look at, what's her name? Erica Kirk in the eye, because she needs to confront the lies and all this stuff. And it's like, and so she was like, Candace Owens was like, okay, I just actually found out that it was Erica Kirk that used you guys to put this little offer out. So since she's really behind this whole offer for me to come in the first place, then what I will do is this. I will move things around to make sure that I'm there if she shows up. And so it was quiet as I don't know what after that. So she's saying, yes, please have her there too, so we can put all of this out. And so I haven't heard anything back since. I mean, not anything substantial. I mean, they done moved on that, but that's kind of where things are right now. Personally, do I think that Erica Kirk would show up for something like that? No, I don't think so at all, because she doesn't seem like a person that would be able to handle that. And miss me with the whole, well, she's still in mourning and all this stuff. You ain't in that much mourning if you're going to set this whole trap up. So yeah, we see, and then there's some really questionable things about Erica Kirk and her background and all that stuff, things that I could touch on, but there's many, many other platforms that do a much better job at that than me. And, but it's been really interesting to watch all of these pastors, these Christians and all of this stuff, and how they are really freaking out. And so as I'm watching this, I was going to each one of their profiles, and literally all of them are pro-Zionist. All of them are pro-Zionist. All of them are. And so it showed me, I said, this is ultimately about Zionism. That's really what this is all comes down to. And the fact that Candace is speaking out the way she is, if she wasn't speaking out, this whole Zionist thing that they have going on at Turning Point USA, it would have kept right on going. I believe, based on the information I'm seeing, Turning Point USA was a money laundering scheme. Money laundering. According to one report, just on T-shirts alone, Turning Point made about $80 million since Charlie Kirk's passing. They use his past. They're accusing her, Candace Owens of making money, saying stuff for clicks. Meanwhile, Turning Point, just on T-shirts alone, mentioning Charlie Kirk or whatever, they made $80 million. But Candace Owens is the one she's exploiting the situation. So it's things like that. I'm sitting back and I'm like, wow, this is really something. And to see how much these people are really in the tank for Israel. Now, I wanted to spend a little time just kind of rolling that out there a little bit, because this other stuff that I'm going to touch on, you're going to see how deep this thing really is. Not so much about Turning Point. We're going to dovetail back to Turning Point in a moment, but just how deep this is. And that, remember I said the matrix system that we live in. The matrix system that we live in is one that is based on Judaism. All right, I'm going to say it again. The matrix system that we live in today is based on Judaism. All right, so I'll just leave it at that. and I've expanded on that before. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I have some video clips and I'm gonna show you just how deep this thing really is. And let's go ahead and jump into it. I appreciate you guys. Again, as always, thank you so much for being here. I do not take it lightly or granted that you guys are showing up just to hear me speak. Okay, I really appreciate it. But anyway, let me go to this first video here. And this is an individual. When I tell you that Israel is really mounting up for a major clapback, they're trying to get their footing right now within the space of social media, because a lot of people their eyes are becoming open and they're beginning to see what Israel, who they really are and what they're really about. So I'll get into the conference they just had in a moment, but this is about a 5-minute clip. I want you to take a listen to and this just happened here. I want you to take a listen to this guy here and how serious they are about fighting back against any and all criticism about Israel. So let me go ahead and play this.
I'm so thankful to all of you that have been here, but there's somebody that I never get to be with in an event like this, my beloved wife, Carolyn. So I want you to stand, Carolyn. Carolyn is totally selfless. And when I married her, I said, I have to be honest. There's another woman in my life. She said, what? I said, Israel. I love her so much. I have to be with her a lot. She said, honey, I will let you do that. But if she ever calls me on the phone, you are dead. We are going to train 100,000 Christian ambassadors to be ambassadors in their own country for the state of Israel, to defend Israel's brand and to combat anti-Semitism. Now, the beautiful part about this is we're partnering with Blackboard. Blackboard is the largest platform in the world, serving Harvard, Yale, all the major universities. The vice president of Blackboard is here. It's a $2.3 billion company. Would you stand, please? Would you give him a hand? Using adaptive learning technology. So we'll train these wonderful Christian evangelicals so that they can fulfill what I am doing for the state of Israel. Secondly, we're creating FOSS-I, an online academy to train tens of millions of evangelicals. The power of the evangelical muscle is enormous. It represents almost 1 billion people. But no one ever harnessed it. And we're doing that here. We're creating the first evangelical think tank, the first evangelical research institute, so the state of Israel will know who they are and how they can contribute to the state of Israel. We're, of course, a social network campus and much more. So that's exciting for us. The second thing I want to announce is in our Friends of Zion Museum, we are going to build the Donald Trump exhibition. No president in American history has done more for the state of Israel than Donald Trump. The Media Center is indeed a gift to Israel. You can use it, Ambassador Friedman. You can use it for any event you want for the foreign ministry, etc., because we are doing this all for Israel. It's all about Israel. He who defines the terms controls the debate. And we've allowed in the past the enemies of Israel to define the terms, but not anymore. The 21st century wars are first media wars. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. And anybody that doesn't understand that they're media wars is delusional. I talked to a Joint Chief of Staff and I said to him, help me understand, how do wars begin and end? He whispered in my ear and said, you don't have a recorder on? I said, no. He said, the media decides When they start, the media decides when they end. Most people don't understand the power of the media. Marvelous opportunities of a lifetime are right now. Shimon Peres was our first chairman. And people ask me why. Shimon Peres, wasn't he to the left and you're to the right? I said, let me tell you something. I love that man. I love that man because I knew his mind and his heart. But we evangelicals are not to the right. We're not to the left. We're for the bird. The bird is Israel. We're for all of it. We're for all of it. And we're the ones that got President Trump elected and will do it again. And now you have an evangelical vice president, evangelical secretary of state. You have evangelical advisors. One of them has just flown in here from the White House with the president. That's on our team. This is an astonishing day.
So there you go. Oh, I got other clips too. But you see, these people aren't playing around. They're not playing around when it comes to this. In fact, I have an article here. Well, it's not really an article. Well, it's kind of sort of is an article here. But just to give you an idea of just how serious these people are about this whole media war that we're about to enter in, and they're mounting up. It's in other words, Israel has taken has been taking serious hits in the PR and the media world for a good while now, particularly on social media. This is why they had to make their moves to behind the scenes to get that TikTok thing rolling. Excuse me. And so, and then you got the other platforms as well that kind of follow suit of what Israel wants them to do. And so, so they've been really getting their butts kicked in the media. But fear not, because 2026 is going to look a little bit different here. And this is why I like talking about this stuff, because I want particularly our people to be very aware of what's going on and that you don't fall into this stuff. Okay, so I read this. I was reading this in different other areas too, and I came here, and this is of TRT World. Finance Minister Bezalel, whatever, and Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar had agreed on a budget of roughly $725 million for Israel advocacy campaigns known as Hasbara in Hebrew as part of the 2026 budget. The move, you're talking just shy of $1 billion. The move came as Israel's global image, particularly in the U.S. and other Western countries, had been severely damaged by its genocidal war on Gaza, which has left the enclave in ruins and much of the population facing displacement, disease, and hunger. The budget will fund worldwide campaigns to promote Israel's narrative, with the government having already authorized over $300 million for the initiative. Under the new plan, Israel's foreign ministry will receive $150 million in addition to its existing budget for public diplomacy, an amount of more than 20 times higher than such allocations in previous years. The funds will be used for social media campaigns, partnerships with civil societies, organizations, and delegations of political leaders, elected officials, influencers, and other public figures to push pro-Israel propaganda. Israel has been using these campaigns to try to deny the reality of man-made famine and genocide in Gaza, instead portraying a semblance of normalcy within the besieged enclave. Since they are mounting pretty much an over $1 billion campaign that's going to be kicking off in 2026 on social media. And rewind a little bit. Remember I was telling you about those people that were like going after Candace, and it was just, they were very weird and very strange arguments, but the arguments were all the same. These people, I'm looking and I'm literally saying these people are repeating the same exact lines. Like it was like word for word. And so I'm literally taking notes of all of this stuff. And I'm sitting up, I was like, wow, these people are word for word saying the same criticisms. And I said, well, let me go ahead and check out their background, their profile pages. all of them. I ain't found one yet that is anti-Zionist at all, or even they're either like 100% Zionist or they don't exist. All of these people are pro-Zionist people. And what I'm saying, because it got out, there was another report that came out recently that talked about how a lot of these influencers are getting paid. They are getting paid by Israel, which, ties into this report that I just read to you. They are paying a lot of these individuals to push these Zionist talking points. Now, again, we on this platform, we mainly talk about issues as it pertains to black folks. Again, don't worry, because this does tie into what I'm be getting into in a little bit, how black folks are also have been swallowing this Kool-Aid too. All right, so we're gonna get into that in a moment. Just hang in there with me. But in the meantime, let me get back. I got some other video clips here just to show you just how serious these people are. Let me see. That was that. Let me find the next one here. This is Mike Huckabee. Here's Mike Huckabee. He's going after the the Christians. He's going after the Christians, and he's telling these Christians, listen, you better stand up for Israel because this is your calling. You're supposed to stand up. Let me take a listen here. Someone said they can't hear. Someone said no sound, no sound, no sound. Let me know you can hear or not before I continue here, because everything on this end is showing that my volume is fine. I'll give you a moment here, but let me know in the chat if you can hear. All right. The first two people that say it, and I'll just continue on. But at least on this end, it's saying my volume's fine. So I'll just give y'all a moment. I know there's a delay. Oh, people said, Todd said refresh your browser. So Todd I'm sure he can hear me. And let me see if somebody else chimes in and says, someone else said they can hear too. So yeah, refresh your browser like it's okay. We're still here. All right. Okay. So this is Mike Huckabee. I want you to take a listen to him and just the desperation of wanting to get these Christians to get on board and make sure you're supporting Israel.
But I say to you that those who are saying things that are negative about Israel that are not true, they have the free speech right.
Now that doubling that you hear, that's not my volume. That's not any of my sound. That's coming from the video. Okay, so I'm gonna play it again, but I want to make that clear. That ain't coming from me. That's coming straight from the video. So just try your best to hear what he's saying here.
But I say to you that those who are saying things that are negative about Israel that are not true, they have the free speech right to say them, but you have the free speech responsibility to push back, stand up, speak up, and say, not in this country. America will not stand silent. We need the pulpits of America to be on fire with truth, not propaganda. Nobody is asking you to go back to America and tell some story made up about Israel. Nobody's asking you to go and present some version of history that doesn't exist. Simply being asked to go back and tell the truth. And tell it from the scriptures. Because you could tell it from the front pages of the New York Slimes, and it would not be the truth. But if you tell it from the holy word of the holy God, you will be telling the truth, and the scripture may very visibly say that this is the land that God gave to the Jewish people. And he said he will bless those who bless Israel, but he will curse those who curse Israel.
It's these chuckleheads right here that I just can't stand. I am so tired of hearing that. I am so tired of hearing that passage. I am so tired of hearing that. Now, if you've been following this platform, I've been talking about the ones that the ones that Huckabee is saying that we got to bless them and all of that and not curse them. See, I'm about my black folks, okay? I'm about black folks, okay? And so I'm looking at everything. I'm going to show you something a little bit here. I'm going to show you something a little bit. I ain't going to get ahead of myself. I'm being, I'm being disciplined here tonight. But I'm going to show you another thing that these people have been doing lately towards black people here in the United States. Okay, black Americans. I'm going to show you something. I've already been showing you things. We've been tracking. We've been going through history. We've been talking about music. We've been talking about a whole bunch of other things these people have been doing on the regular towards black people, black Americans. So there should be name one black person in that audience, but there are some, unfortunately. I've seen some. And there's this other guy here named, what's his name? Officer Tatum. This dude, he reminds me of the officer on Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I mean, just overly aggressive, about to break down in tears over Israel and all this stuff. This is that guy that I played the other day, that clip where it was about a month ago, where he talked about how he was interviewing Netanyahu. Netanyahu went on his podcast. I have never seen Netanyahu go on any black person's podcast, but he went on his. And he was telling Netanyahu how, despite the fact that him and a group of pastors got spat on, he said he was impressed. Now get this. He said he was impressed of the fact that there was another Jewish person that came up and said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. He said there was another Jewish person that told the kid to stop. But he was impressed of that's what impressed him. That was the thing he walked away with. The fact that he got spat on and somebody said, oh, no, don't do that. I tell you, these folks here, and you're going to be seeing a lot more people like that. Trust me. But anyway, let me bring up, I got some other videos here that I'm going to show real quick here for you as we are moving on. Let me see here. So that was Huckabee. This is the pastors. They just had those clips. This was, I believe, part of this huge conference that they just had. I think they're just wrapping up in Israel, where they invited 1,000 pastors. And let me play that clip for you so you can see. 1,000 pastors that they invited in Israel. Take a look at this.
The group began with prayer and worship on the ancient southern steps that led to the Temple Mount in Jesus' day. Then they visited the Western Wall. Some 16 million people pray at the Western Wall each year. But this is the first time a group of this size has come to offer such a unique blessing and prayer. Each person had a paper with the name of someone massacred on October 7th. They put them in the cracks of the Western Wall and prayed for the victims' families. The pastors met with Western Wall Rabbi Shmuel Rabinovich, who prayed Psalm 121, which proclaims God's protection over Israel. Rabinovich later commended the group for their support.
In Shamayim, pray of you. As God bless you.
They're a group that came to confirm the friendship between America and Israel, to confirm that this world is a world that the Holy One created for good, to reject evil, to be against those who want to do evil and not good.
Rabinovich told CBN News that Israel and the Jewish people cherish and appreciate the support from the U.S. government and the nation's Christians.
We want to say thank you to them for supporting us in so many ways. It's a period when so many people want to hurt us and kill us. On the 7 fronts we're fighting, and America stands by our side. These 1,000 leaders will bring our message of thank you to the American people.
People on the tour said they'll return with testimonies of Israel's importance to America and the world.
Israel is a friend.
Oh, Lord, no. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't see the whole clip, y'all. I don't know this woman. I just see a black woman, and I was like, oh Lord, cause I'm like, just leave us out of it. Just leave us out of it, please. Oh no. Anyway, I got to go back. We got to tell the whole story, don't we? Anyway, here we go.
Our message of thank you to the American people.
People on the tour said they'll return with testimonies of Israel's importance to America and the world.
Israel is a friend of America and our youth. So I'm on fire to spread the good news about Israel.
Israel's God's place. Jerusalem is God's place for God's people, and we need to support them. We need to back them, and they need to know that the evangelical community is their best friend.
Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Julie Stahl, CBN News, the Western Wall, Jerusalem.
So Israel is raising up an entire army. I'm trying to get y'all to understand this. They are raising up an entire army of people that is gearing up for 2026. 2026 is going to be the year that we're going to see Israel and Zionists push back pretty hard against a lot of what they have been experiencing in the real world, particularly on, not just on the streets, but also social media and all of that. There's a lot of people who are saying, no, you call yourself chosen all you want. That's it. And no, we're not going to bow down to, it's in the Bible. The Bible says that you are the chosen people, so we got to abide by that. The Bible is God's word, right? Right. So if it's God's word and God's word says that you got to bless them that bless them and curse those that curse you and all, and all of that. If you got to go with it. Right. Right. Folks, this is why we meticulously have taken the time over the past few years. We did the series, Who in the L Are You Following? We did that one, okay, where we just not only looked at the Bible, we also looked at history, right? So you got the Bible. The Bible is part of history. It is not history. So this is why I just want to slap some of these Negroes out here that are still out here saying that the Bible is the black man's history book. The Bible is not the black man's history book. How dare you even come up with that in your brain, that these oppressors cared so much about you, they whipped the hell out and in you, but yet they were very kind and thoughtful to make sure that they took your history and they put it within the pages of a book that they so meticulously took care of. After they done whipped you and raped you and separated you from your land and all of that, after they finished, they wiped the sweat off their brow, the blood that splattered on their face, and they said, well, here you go. Here you go. I made sure to take care of your book because God commanded me to take care of your history book. And you got Negroes out here today that believe that and teach that. That is not your history book. The Bible is part of history, but it is not history. And when you read the Bible within the context, the larger context of history, you're going to find a heap load of discrepancies. So we did that in our series, Who in the L Are You Following? And then later on, because we had such a demand over the years, people were saying, hey, I want to pull on that again. I want to go back to that, that whole series we had on our own platform on BondTube, which is not here anymore. So what I did was I actually condensed it, put it in a 5-hour seminar. You can find it on Sambatree.com. And it's basically called the Breaking the Chains. It's called Breaking the Chains. And it's a 5-hour seminar. You get, and in that you get a ton of information where we're looking at this thing. Like, for example, when we talk about Jerusalem, Jerusalem is the holy city. First of all, let's establish this again. I've said this before. When you hear people say that the Bible is a Zionist book, it is. It is a Zionist book. You're not going to have me argue against that. It is true. It is a Zionist book. It promotes even to the end. In the book of Revelation, the God of the Bible is so committed to Israel that he is promising that a new Jerusalem is going to come down from heaven to earth, and it's going to sit on top of the Jerusalem that we know of today. So you can't get any more Zionist than that. I mean, come on, and then there's other scriptures too that we can point to as well. But yes, the Bible in of itself is a Zionist book. You can't get around that. So when I hear Christians try to talk around that, you just can't get around that. It's just, that's what it is. It is a Zionist book, right? And so you got that. But then we looked at the word Jerusalem. When you look at the word Jerusalem, the word Jerusalem, the etymology of the word Jerusalem, it is the place or the seating of of Shalem. The seating or the place of Shalem or Shalim. Well, who's Shalim? He is the God of the dusk. It's not Yahweh. It's the God of the dusk. And this is a God that was, you had the Canaanites and other people who lived in that area. This was one of the many gods that they used to worship. So the word Jerusalem, people think this is some holy word or holy name. No, it's, if you want to call it that, that's fine. But the word Jerusalem actually means the place or the seating of Shalem or Shalim, who is the God of the dusk. Your Bible, the word Bible comes from, it was named after a city by the name of Byblos or Byblos, okay, with a Y. And the God of that city was actually a Canaanite god. It was because you had a whole family of Baals. I don't have the exact which Baal this was, but it was a Baal. It was a Baal god or Baal. So your book that you call your holy book is named after a city whose god, patron god, was Baal. We cover all of this in that series. If you want to know more, it's all in there. Okay. So, but you can look this stuff up. I mean, we've talked about this for years on this platform. Okay. So yeah. So when you're hearing people saying, yeah, we're going to use the Bible and all that. No, yeah, you're using the Bible, but you're using it in the context that you want to use it in to keep people in this state of deception, because most people will not take the time beyond what their pastor is telling them to pick up a history book and to investigate this stuff themselves. You don't even have to do that now. Now you got ChatGPT that will do most of the heavy lifting for you. Anyway, don't want to get too far into that, but I just wanted to give that. Do I have any other videos here? Because now we're gonna bring this plane in, and I'm gonna talk about, because for some of you may be like, what does this got to do with black people? Okay, well, I got something for you too. Okay, because this is very important. All of this is important. But I wanted to establish the fact that these people are not playing, ladies and gentlemen. That you're going to see a major push coming in 2026 of these individuals pushing this entire narrative. I would not be surprised if you start seeing them start, once again, anybody like myself that says anything negative about Israel, you'll start seeing them cracking down again on that. So do not be surprised, but this is what's happening. This is what they're at a tune of at least $1 billion. And I'm going to show you how Turning Point, what they're doing. Okay. But let me show you this now, just to show you, if you think that, oh, Dwayne, maybe you're overstating about Judaism and all of this stuff and how much control they have. Now, this is the House Speaker, Mike Johnson. He rolled into, I think this is New York, I'm not sure, just very recently. This is his whole group of folks under heavy security rolling in to meet with a rabbi. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever seen this kind of interest from the federal government going in to speak to a black Baptist pastor? And we'll take a look at this. And that's him back there. I'll rewind it a little. They made sure, that's Mike Johnson right there. Look at him. They made sure to put that little cap on him. They're telling you right there, at the end of the day, this is what you work for. This is just a meet with a rabbi. That's just a meet with a rabbi. That's all. They pulling in all of that. You got the Speaker of the House going in to speak to a rabbi, and they rolling in like that. Well, they just a little tiny group. They don't have any influence. They're just a little tiny group that's just trying to make it. Yep. Anyway, let's move on here. Okay, so now let me let's see. Speaker Mike Johnson. I already told you about the millions that they're committing to. Turning Point. Okay. Turning Point. Let's talk about that. How does this relate to black folks? Well, I'm going to tell you. Well, Turning Point, many of you are aware that Turning Point, you know, early in the broadcast, I was talking about Candace Owens, right? And I was talking about, you know, just everything that was going on with that whole situation. And many of you are aware of you know, familiar with Candace Owens. She actually, what really launched her, I guess, on the scene was Blexit. That was really where you know, she was involved in other things, but Blexit was this whole initiative that she helped start, that the goal, it was, and she was a conservative that helped launch this whole initiative to get black people involved in not just politics, but to get them really taking a serious consideration to conservatism, right? And so it proved to be quite effective, because for the first time in a good while, you began to start seeing black people, you know, black Americans actually have these discussions. It went from just a simple, you're a coon, I'm just waving you off, to, well, let's talk this out a little bit. Now, did it really move the needle in any substantial way in terms of the black population? I mean, it did to a measure, I would say. You know, it wasn't quite substantial, but it was enough to get a lot of attention, you know. And Blexit was something that it was, I don't know if it started by itself or it was always part of Turning Point. That part I'm not too sure about. I will have to look into that. But anyway, it was part of Turning Point. Okay. And Turning Point at this time was just at its infancy. And so, so this was their whole initiative to get black folks, right, into the Republican camp. All right. So fast forward, you know, as I was saying earlier, how Turning Point, or basically these Jewish investors basically cornered Charlie Kirk, and they were trying to get him to basically become more Zionist when it comes to Turning Point and his efforts and all this stuff. And you know, like I said, Candace has been putting out the receipts and showing that Charlie Kirk didn't want to go in that direction. Well, you know, next thing you know, and then it was like a night before, he puts out a text to his closest people saying, I think they're trying to kill me. And the next day he's gone. I mean, you can't, I mean, come on. And so anyway, so that's that. Now, all of a sudden, you're starting to see Turning Point begin to start going into Zionism. Let me show you this. Like they're fully into it. Not that they weren't talking about it before, but now they really are starting to become a lot more bolder with it. this was something I just found on X. I'll just bring this up here right quick. It's on the college campuses here. Experience Israel with Turning Point USA, Louisiana State University. All right, so this is something that somebody found. They're going, now they're coming. Well, they never left the college campuses, but now what they're doing now is they're going to start amping up more and more and more this whole pro-Israel stuff. All right. And so they have a new thing that they're so they, because of this whole thing going on with Candace Owens, they don't have nothing to do with her anymore. So they got rid of Blexit. And now they have this brand new thing that they're kicking off. It's called, I'm going to bring it up here on the screen. And I think they just launched this. It's called Turning Point USA Rise. This is the new thing that they're kicking off right now. Turning Point USA Rise. And this, of course, is once again, they're reigniting Blexit, but they're just calling it Rise. Turning Point USA Rise is the largest minority conservative grassroots movement in the nation. Rise exists to strengthen families and reclaim culture within minority America through high energy events, authentic community outreach, and inspiring educational initiatives. We empower Black, Hispanic, Asian, and all minority communities to rise above division and embrace faith, family, and freedom. They left something off there, but I'll just tell you in a moment. So, so it looks like they are going to have a conference on the 17th. Let's see here. They said learn more. Let's click on that. Let's learn more. Oh, it's going to be in Phoenix. Hey, Todd, maybe we should show up here. I'm playing. It's going to be in Tempe. Okay, well, that's really in my backyard. Ooh, that's very tempting. That's very, very tempting. That's very tempting. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, they're gonna be in Tempe. They're gonna be in Tempe December the 17th through the 18th. Tempe Mission Palms, and it's gonna be at a hotel and all that stuff. So anyway, we'll see. Y'all tell me what you think. I don't know. Should I show up there? I'm just, because me, I'm not going there to be like trying to start trouble. I'm too old to be doing that kind of stuff like that. I ain't trying to do no stunts and nothing like that. I'll just be going there listening and taking notes, ask a few questions and bounce. But I'll come out with a lot of receipts. So anyway, I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think about that. I don't know. But anyway, so now, are they going to be talking? I'm sure that, based on the stuff I've been hearing coming out of this organization, and what they try to do is, creating dialogue to get Black people to stop thinking along one side, just the one side of the political aisle, and start thinking these other alternatives that's out there. Okay, that's fine. I get it, or whatever. But based on everything I'm saying to you, see, I had to go along. I had to do all this to show you what they're really doing. What they're really doing is this. They are trying to drum up their support for Zionist or Zionism amongst Black folks. That's really what this is. And they could talk about, we're going to deal with abortion, and we're going to try to talk about some of these other things, and really try to train, get Black students to begin to argue things from a conservative point and all of that. And I'm sure, to some measure that's going to work. But the bottom line of this is to get students, Black students, to become pro-Zionist. That's the end game for this. That's why Turning Point is doing this. It's because they are trying to raise up a new group of Black individuals that are pro-Zionist. That's what this is all about at the end of the day. So let's get rid of all the fluff. That's what it is. Because I guarantee you, you get one Negro up there that starts talking about anything but Zionism, they're going to boot them out. It's going to be interesting. That would be very interesting if I went there, because I would ask them that point blank. If they had something like that, I would ask them point blank. And I'm not going to let them dance around that issue. I would not allow them to dance around that issue at all. So it'll be very interesting to see how they address that. Because here's the thing. They're counting on black people to be very ignorant about this. But see, we're not ignorant here. We see exactly what you're doing. So yeah, it's very interesting. So it puts me in a place right now where I remember, you guys remember, it was about a month ago or so, where, Turning Point was still showing up on college campuses. And then all of a sudden they started pivoting to black college campuses. You remember that? Because see, they thought that was their safe haven. And so they showed up on a black college campus, and the students, there was one particular student that basically, started it all, but there was other students that rose up and was like, nah, y'all need to get out of here. But they were doing it because it was this whole thing that Charlie Kirk is racist and don't bring your racism here and all that stuff. That was their driving factor to get Turning Point on. But see, for me now, I have the motivation to join them and say, stay off of these HBCUs, because see, we see what you're doing. Now we see what you're doing. So Turning Point, we see what you're doing. We see exactly what this is really about. And it ain't to create people. It's not necessarily about getting black people to think critically and all this other stuff. No, it's to create a whole repository of black individuals that are going to ultimately be pro-Zionist and are going to argue the Israel perspective on things. That's really what this is about. Anyway, this is an article. This is a little bit older. This article was 2023. I found this on the United with Israel. Changing lives impressed by visit to Israel. U.S. black colleges plan exchange programs. It's already been starting, y'all. We may not be able to send our whole school, but if you send one or two students to start, you are changing their lives and changing the lives of individuals that they interact with. South Carolina State University President Alexander Conyers told the Times of Israel. 5 heads of American universities that belong to the historically black colleges and universities group came away so impressed with their recent trip to Israel that they will soon start student exchange programs in the local universities and encourage the other 96 institutions who are members to do so as well. Many HBCUs focus on STEM studies, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and research, which is what drives a startup nation as well. Although not all the chancellors had known this, the Times explained. That's weird. Anyway, prior to our visit, I would not have identified Israel as a leading technological and an innovative nation. Said Dr. Harold Martin Jr., head of North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I leave with a very different perspective, having interacted with so many outstanding universities, thriving in areas of innovation and technology that are providing outstanding graduates to leading global technologies, companies here in Israel and around the world. And it goes on. So what they're doing, as you can see, this article, again, this was written back in 2023. They already got their hooks in HBCUs, and these HBCUs are already planning on sending students to Israel and starting up that whole situation there. I wouldn't be surprised if they've already started that. And you're going to start seeing more and more of this. What you're also going to see, too, is these HBCUs, because what took place at, Harvard University? Remember the whole situation with the pro-Zionist folks versus the Gaza people and all that, and how Harvard lost all that money, and that chancellor, the first black woman, they booted her and all this over whole Zionism stuff. You remember? When that happened, that was a bat signal to every college and university here in America, because what Trump was saying to every college and university in America with that whole situation was that if you're not going to start shifting your stuff towards being pro-Zionist, we're going to start messing around with your money. We're going to start pulling funding. We're going to start doing different things. So I'm telling you, you watch these HBCUs. Watch what they do. If these HBCUs, if they're not going to put their foot down on this stuff, you watch what happens. You watch what Trump does. So yeah, I am 100% and 10%, and my mouth will be very loud on this issue with Turning Point USA showing up on black college campuses. I'm telling them they need to stay the hell away. Stay the hell away from us. Stay the hell away from black folks. Stay the hell away from these black colleges and universities. Keep that stuff in your own backyard. Y'all stay over there. Don't bring us into that mess. Because see, now we're at the age right now where we're telling the truth. We start calling this stuff out for what it is. Anyway, let me show you this. This is let me give you some other reasons here. How many of you guys know Dwight Howard? Remember Dwight Howard? Well, Dwight Howard, of course, he used to play in the NBA. I came across this interesting video here of him. He was talking about something that he did. It was just very simple. It's very interesting here. And let's take a listen to Dwight Howard on this. Again, I'm giving you reasons why I'm taking the stance I am on this issue. All right, so this is Dwight Howard. Take a listen to this video clip here. Hold on. It's right here. There we go. Listen to Dwight Howard here.
When you're in the NBA, it's a lot of things that you want to say, that you could say, but if you say it, there's gonna be repercussions. You could get in a lot of trouble. For example, a couple years ago when I played for the Houston Rockets, I tweeted "Free Palestine," and I dang near got kicked out the league for it. And I'm like trying to figure out why. You know what I'm saying? I didn't, obviously, before that, the conversation happened with some Palestinians, and they were telling me, I actually went to the movies one day. I was in the movies in Houston. A whole bunch of Palestinians was like, hey, man, we're big fans of you. Can we watch movies with y'all? So I'm like, cool, man. When I was in Houston and Orlando and a lot of cities I played in, I would take fans to movies. I would take them to main event, do big events at David Buster's and stuff like that. So we go to the movies. After the movies, I'm taking pictures with all the, fans and stuff like that. And they asked me to just bring some awareness to what's going on in their country. So, me having a big heart, I'm like,
the Christian thing to do.
Yes, I'm like, you know what? I want people to know the struggles y'all having. I don't think it's wrong. So I tweet "Free Palestine." Less than 10 minutes after I tweet that, I get a call from the commissioner of the NBA.
Stop it.
Agents, people like working with my foundation at the time, Texas, you gotta erase this tweet. You gotta take this down. You're gonna get it. I'm like, what did I do that was so bad?
Can somebody explain to me?
Yeah, can somebody explain? And it was just like, because I went against the grain. I said something that people didn't like, and now
not people didn't like, they didn't like.
So now it's like I gotta stand on what I believe and how I feel, and not go back on it.
Yeah.
And when you're in the league, you be in that place where if I say too much, or if I say something, I may not get a job no more.
That's that 70% of people that's out the league that got you.
I gotta hold my tongue, and that's so hard to do when you are faced with so many situations. You have things going on that may be outside.
You get the point here. Well, he ain't the only one. That happened to other dude too. He posted a link to Ron Dalton's documentary, and you see the amount of hell that raised. All he did was tweeted "Free Palestine." Now these same players can get up here and say, drop the N-word. They can cuss folk out, and they won't have a word to say about it. The moment all he said was "Free Palestine," all of a sudden now this happens. All of a sudden he gets the commissioner. The commissioner got on his phone and said, take that down. Yeah. Again, I'm just giving you previews of what's coming down the pike, y'all. Now, here's the other thing. I'm giving you reasons, black folks, I'm giving you reasons why we got to take a stance against this stuff. And no, these people are not our friends. Now, someone posted this. Now, I've done videos where I talked about, what was it, in North Jersey, where you had black communities in North Jersey where, you know, because of the rising prices in New York City, you know, you have, you know, it's just people been moving out of New York City because it's so freaking expensive. But among those people were Jewish people who were moving out of places like Brooklyn, some of these Bed-Stuy, some of these major places where Jews have called home for years. They moved out of the city and they were moving to places like in northern Jersey, where in some quarters where you had were traditionally black folks. Well, they were moving in these areas, in these communities, and they were pressuring these black folks to, you know, basically to get out of their houses. And they were offering them all kinds of stuff and all of this, banging on their doors. I played the whole news report on this. And once they successfully got enough of these black people out, what they were doing was they would turn their homes around and they would rent it exclusively to their people. Now, you really can't do that because that's against the law. However, the way they were getting around it was the postings that they were making public, they would put them in Hebrew to make sure that only people who could read Hebrew can rent those homes. And so this is how they were pushing out a lot of black folks in that town. And this was a big thing, but it's not just there. There's many other places they were doing this too. But anyway, I came across this report here. Someone is talking about this. Let me pull this up as soon as I can find it, where it's this thing called deed theft. And someone did a video on this. Let me pull this up here for you. And it's happening now this is happening in New York City. Let me get this up here. It's almost here. Okay, here it is. This is happening in New York City. This clip is a little 5 minutes long. Please pay attention to what this young lady has to say on this. Again, this is directly impacting black Americans, okay, and other black folks.
Developers are stealing the properties and home ownerships in black and brown communities, targeting the most vulnerable, especially the distressed and elderly homeowners, and that they weaponize the courts and the police to execute their thefts. It's called the deed theft scheme. I have no doubt in my mind that these Jewish property developers are Zionists, because anti-Zionist Jews do not lack the moral compass to know that you do not steal other people's homes. So basically, what the Zionists are doing in Palestine, in stealing Palestinian homes, is what they're doing here in New York City. Mm-hmm. And if they're doing it in New York City, you know they're doing it in other parts of the United States. And if they're doing it in other parts of the United States, then they're doing it in the United Kingdom and across Europe, but probably under a different name. Please pay attention to this very detailed report and open your eyes to the evil that is Zionism.
Just know I'm not against you. I'm just here to do my job. Hello? Hey, what's up? Yeah, let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, it's posted on her door. I'm probably going to need PD, but let's see.
The NYPD, along with the courts, are working in coordination with predominantly Jewish property developers to steal homes and evict families, including the elderly and children, out onto the streets.
What marshal you are? I'm Marshal Smith. I sent you a cease and desist for you not to come here and harass me, and you still here telling me you're about to evict me in the middle of the cold.
Exposing them not only to carceral systems, displacement, and homelessness, but also to the extreme police brutality of the NYPD.
You can open the door. I'm not going to step in until I explain everything to you. It's a private house. First and second floor. I'm not sure.
Listen to the language this criminal marshal is using against Carmela here. He's literally sicking the NYPD on her.
She's inside, barricaded in the apartment.
No, I'm just, because I already know.
This is the language they use before they break down your door, arrest you, involuntarily commit you, or just straight up kill you.
Let me just ask you, are you here by yourself? Are you home by yourself? Okay, how many people are we talking? Can I talk to you? They told me it was going to be a problem.
And with the installation of Zionist billionaire real estate heiress Jessica Tisch, the NYPD has begun conducting illegal evictions with militarized SWAT teams.
He gearing up. I just asked what's going on in the building because they have elderly people here. Why is he getting geared up like this? But he's putting on tactical gear.
Restraining orders mean nothing to the NYPD, who will still come and throw families out and then protect the thieves as they sledgehammer the homes in front of the owners.
Don't put your ass back. Get your fucking nasty ass out. Come here and you threatening to arrest her for her fucking property. Break everything. No more walls. Look what they did. Mother of all evil.
Wow.
And they walked out of here. Captain!
They refuse to take police reports to cover their tracks.
There's no report to make. Excuse me, I'm trying to talk. No, but you're wrong. Okay. There's no report to make.
He's walking away.
And then retaliate against the victims by showing up with even more police to terrorize them the next day.
I sent him a cease and desist for the marshals, and he still came here and harassed me. How you came to my house? And we have cameras everywhere, so you will find a complaint against you guys.
Eric Gonzalez, the Brooklyn DA, finally granted a meeting for over 80 victims of deed theft yesterday, but then put them off at the last moment.
He's the district attorney. You can give us a way to tell him to stop it now, and you know it. Stop treating us like a slave.
Stop it. Just stop these evictions right now.
Why? These are his donors. This is state-sponsored terrorism against Black and brown communities in New York, and it is completely routine.
They denied us to do the police report of what happened on yesterday. There's a TRO. Nobody's supposed to be at the house. We went to file a police report. He refused to give the police report, and then he came here today to get all of us out the house. The same sergeant.
There's no report to make.
No one won't believe that if I don't say it and show it.
And this has been going on for a very long time in New York City. Black folks have a very long history of this. And when I hear these clowns out here like Officer Tatum and other people who skip over all of this, instead they want to brag about how they were spat upon in Israel. But at the same time, you want to ignore this. You want to ignore Maimonides. You want to ignore that. No, we're bringing all of this stuff up. We're bringing all of this stuff up. I got one more thing to show you here. This is another thing that's going on. Again, I'm giving y'all a lot of reasons here why we have nothing to do with these people and what these people really think about Black folks at the end of the day. And like I said, the fact that Turning Point is skipping over all of this because they just want to get more Black folks to echo this Zionist nonsense. No, we ain't having it, and we're going to challenge it at every turn. Let me see if I can find this thing. This is one last thing. This is, or I may just tell you about it if I can't find it. But basically, we've, on this platform, we talked about the history of LGBT, transgenderism and all of that. We've talked about this on this platform, and we started, this kind of behavior has been around, since age immemorial, so it goes way, way back. This wasn't anything new, but this latest wave, and I say latest, I'm talking about within the last century, it all stems from Magnus Hirschfeld. Magnus Hirschfeld out of, he was in Berlin. And we talked about, again, how he was an individual that basically was responsible for doing the first transgender, what do you call it, the surgery where they basically remove parts and all that stuff. He was the first guy to do it. This was the first guy to do it. And And so anyway, but when you look at but since then, you see all of these different things that have taken place within the educational system, these different initiatives pushing those kind of lifestyles. People like Harvey Milk, for example, this was a Jewish individual, and many, many others who were leading the way in pushing out this agenda. And one of the things we've always pointed out on this platform, I'm just still looking, if not, I'll just tell you about it. And this was something that was going down in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, but I'll just end up telling you about it. But one of the things that we've always pointed out on this platform is how they always try to bring in black people. You know how black folks, we've been saying why is it Hollywood so obsessed with getting these black men in these dresses? And it's all part of this agenda, this LGBT agenda. They always got to get black people involved. They always, particularly black men. If they can get black men effeminized, then they got it. Well, they already got the black church, because I already told you the black church is a black feminist LGBT organization, and it needs to be reclassified as such. I've already told you that. And they won't even argue that when you look at the facts. But I'm looking for this anyway. And so they always do this. So anyway, I'll just tell you real quick. In Chapel Hill, I can't find it. In Chapel Hill, they have some kind of thing that they're doing on a local level with the children. It was a short news report I'm trying to find it. I can't find it right now. But it's a short news report I have. If I find it, maybe I'll make a short out of it. But basically, they got this little story that they made up because, it's the holidays now. Well, they said and guess what? They have Santa Claus and he's black. They got a black Santa Claus, y'all. Well, they couldn't just leave it at that. He's not just black, but he's gay. A gay black Santa Claus. And guess what? His husband or his boyfriend is a white Santa Claus. And so they're talking about that, and then they're involving the reindeer and all this other stuff. But they always got to mix black men, get black men involved in this. They want to effeminize black men. But this stems all the way back from Hirschfield and all of his other associates and people that still bow down at that altar. Yes, this is what they brought to black America. This is the kind of stuff that they have brought and they have propagated and they have promoted in black America. And we need to be aware of this stuff and stop playing games with this stuff and start calling this stuff out for what it is. One last thing, I don't have anything on me right now on this, but I was reading about this. Well, how many of you guys remember back in 2019, the year of return with Ghana? How many of you guys remember that? Well, did you know that Israel was heavily involved in that as well? Yes, Israel was heavily involved in that as well to promote black Americans to move back to Ghana. And Israel has a strong working relationship with Ghana. They are doing things, all kinds of different projects. They even restarted the Black Star Line. The Black Star Line, remember that? Going all the way back to my man who started it all many years ago. Well, Ghana has restarted the Black Star Line where they're shipping out goods and stuff. Guess who is the one of the main investors of the Black Star Line? Israel. Among other things that they're doing all throughout Ghana. And Israel is doing a lot of things all throughout the continent. So this is why I said anytime you hear the federal government promoting black folks to leave, that's why I look at even some of these Hebrew Israelites as saying, you better get the hell out of the United States and come to South Africa. Please, you got to flee you got to flee America to go to South Africa. Why I got to go to South Africa? Why there? Why I got to go there? Why I gotta go to this country? Why you got me running? Well, because the Bible says we gotta go. I don't know. Just don't think about it. Just go. No, we ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. You can go. But there's always a reason for this stuff. So anyway, so the point of this broadcast again is this. Black man, black woman. Yeah, we had to go through a lot here, but in my explanation and what we talked about this evening, but again, I want you to see and understand what's really at play here. Starting in 2026, we're gonna see a huge onslaught of this. And I want you to pay very close attention, because just as they're paying a lot of people to promote the Zionist agenda, they're also paying a lot of people to say nothing. And there's going to be a lot of black creators out here that are going to be very zilch and zelch and not say a doggone thing about this stuff. They've been doing it for a while. Listen to people like Professor Black Truth. Listen to Tariq Nasheed. Listen to some of these other people. Black Authority. How much in detail have you heard them go like I did tonight? I ain't trying to compare myself and say I'm better than them or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. You missed the point. What I am saying is, if you want to be a black authority, then you need to start talking about stuff like this. You need to start addressing this kind of stuff. Because this kind of stuff here, if we're not aware of this stuff and we're not prepared, there's going to be a lot of folks going to be swept up. So again, this is the time for you to start speaking out and start confronting this stuff as is, and we can start educating our children the right way and start taking control of our own health and our own wellness and our own education and all that other stuff. We can start doing it because we already have the tools to do it now. We don't have to depend on anybody else, and don't let these people, one of the things this is one of the initiatives that they're going to push. You mark my word, you could take this to the bank. They're going to start listing out all of these civil rights people who were Zionists. Coretta Scott King. They're going to start naming jazz musicians. They're going to start naming all of these people and say, see, we had a strong working relationship with them. And I'm telling you, this is what they're going to do. Mark this date. I'm telling you, this is what they're going to do. Don't fall for that stuff. All right. So I'm just telling you, I hope you got something out of this broadcast. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I don't take it lightly or for granted that you tune in. Share the video with other people you think that might find this of interest. Remember, again, at SambaTree.com, we are still running our promo up to 30% off. But not only that, we also have a special promo going on some other wonderful products that we thought we were out of, but it was one that was high in demand and we thought we were out of it, but we got it again. So make sure you check out our website. It's SambaTree.com. All right. Thanks again, you guys. Listen, you guys take care, and I'll see you again soon. Take care now.